What's up, witches? My name is Syzygy and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, hi, nice to have you. Today I'm going to be making the long-awaited video about the old comic that my friend and I made in my 7th grade year of middle school, shortly before I turned 14. I talked about this comic a bit in the first part of looking through my cursed old art and Cringing, which is a video you should totally watch after this one, or maybe before this one? It's not necessarily a prerequisite, but I definitely talked some more about this comic there as well. However, if you haven't seen the first part, you shan't worry, because I am going to explain this comic all over again. Before we get into the meat of the matter, so to speak, I wanted to say that boom bang, my commissions are still open! Woo! Here is my commission sheet, though it is a bit outdated. Now if you are getting any piece with color, from flat colors to fully rendered, the line art will also be colored accordingly. For examples, see these pieces of mine. If you want to support me, definitely consider ordering a comm. Thank you so much. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's just jump right into things. So in my previous old art video, I explained that a friend of mine, who I'll call M for the sake of this video, and I had created a comic in middle school. This comic was called the Syphilis series. I'm not sure if I can say that on YouTube, but oh well, let's just hope. Essentially, it was this surrealist comedy featuring poorly drawn dinosaurs going about their days. The main cast consisted of Big Boy Lucifer, the Brachiosaurus, also nicknamed Ferd, STDs, the Stegosaurus, Tracy the Pterodactyl, Vodka Velociraptor, and Mr. Jazz, who is also a Stegosaurus but doesn't have a name featuring alliteration for some reason? I don't know why. Now, right out of the gate, I'm going to explain something that I already went over in my old art video, but I will cover again here for transparency's sake. You're going to notice that certain words are blacked out, specifically Tracy's name. You see, when I was a middle schooler, I was exposed to a lot of right-wing content, unfortunately. And Tracy was initially created to be sort of an SJW leftist stereotype, one that you will see in a lot of SJW negative content from like 2016 or so. Therefore, her name was actually initially the T-slur, because at that time I thought that saying something like that was totally acceptable and not at all offensive. When she was first created, she was like this stereotype that made fun of radical social justice warriors, but over time, as I became much more of a leftist myself, she morphed into a right-wing Karen that screamed about wearing a mask and LGBTQ+ PDA, and is now just a straight cis woman. So in advance for any trans people watching, I apologize that I even went there and wrote her to be that kind of character. This is why her name has since been changed and her character amended. Also why her name is blacked out in the comic. Another note, this comic was being worked on from late 2017 to early 2020, and many of the pages are made in different years. Despite this, I reorganized the comic into a chronological order that made more sense to me back in 2019 or so. So I will tell you when each piece was written or was conceived to the best of my memory. With that all being said, I'm just gonna dive headfirst into this comic, starting with the first page, or the cover. The first thing you'll notice is that I totally spelled syphilis wrong, and to this day, I have no idea if that was an accident or if that was intentional. Like, still, I have no clue. Gotta love how you can tell I didn't use guidelines or a ruler to make sure that the text was symmetrical. Great. I think I drew this back in the summer of 2019, despite the comic having existed a solid year and a half before that. But yeah, these are the two very well designed main characters, Big Boy Lucifer and STDs. You can already tell you're in for a wild ride, huh? Syphilis. Oh, hello, Big Boy. Well, hello there, STDs. Poke. Syphilis. Ah, the page that started it all. This little 3-panel comic here that M initially created was the catalyst to the start of the series. It was the first one ever drawn, and it still holds a dear place in my heart. As a little side note here, Ferd was actually created by M like a long time ago, before the comic was ever even made. I believe he was created when they attempted to draw a giraffe, but it ended up looking like a dinosaur. So there's some lore for you, syphilis lore, if you will. The thick neck emergency. Tear. Hey, Big Boy, what's wrong? My neck is too thick. I like your thick neck. Ma'am? The funniest thing about this page is the title with no context. Also, ew, the weird way I used to write capital E's and lowercase k's. M drew this one, and I'm pretty sure that it was right after the first, so this would have been 2017 or maybe January 2018. Doki doki shite. Sugoi! Oh, gasp, sir. Oh, senpai. Kira kira. Poro poro, why have you done this? This is not funny. This is not funny. I am a grown-ass adult. This is not funny. As you can tell, I was the weeb kid who knew hiragana and katakana, so I believe I drew this one. I am not translating it. Cry about it. This one was definitely not made right after the thick neck emergency because I remember me making it in like March of 2018, so I probably just put it here while reorganizing it years ago. STDs. HIV! Poke. AIDS! Poke. Crabs! Why have you done this? Poke. Herpes! Yeet son. Poke. Me! STDs, actual blood. Thick. Okay, so I have no idea what this joke was even supposed to be. I remember this one being like a joint effort between me and M in the early 2018 kind of era. I can't remember if it was their idea or my idea to just have STDs just poke people with STD needles, but that became a thing. It sure did. SJW. Sparkle, sparkle. Poke. Assault! This is disrespecting women. As a proud feminist, I disapprove. Delete your Tumblr blog immediately, you imbecilic bigot. Sorry, ma'am. Okay, so as you can see, this is one of my archaic SJW negative comics, probably from like early 2018 as well. The introduction to Tracy and all that. I definitely got a kick out of drawing STDs with humanoid concerned faces, I guess. It's honestly really funny still, because this looks like something a Twitter user would say about a celebrity who said something controversial like 10 years ago. Halloween. Hey, big boy! Hello, STDs. So, what are you gonna be for Halloween? My favorite person in the whole world. Me too! Halloween. ... What are you supposed to be? Bob Ross. Okay, this one I actually like, and I will stand by to this day. Kind of a funny meme, not gonna lie. This is one of the comics I drew like much later, most likely in late 2019. I actually stopped working on the comic for around a year because M moved away in the summer of 2018, but I started making more pages again because a new friend of mine took an interest in the comic and wanted to contribute ideas. I'll just call him Jay. I just tacked it onto the beginning chronologically because it made more sense to be one of the earlier comics to me at the time, I guess. Ooh, and wow, I learned how to use a ruler apparently for this one. Barbecue. Hey, big boy, what are you up to? Hello, STDs. I just decided to barbecue. Barbecue? I didn't know that you knew how to cook. Wanna see? Sure. This one was drawn shortly after the Bob Ross one, so it was probably created in late 2019 as well. It is a comic that exists, I guess? Pretty basic joke, really. Nothing to write home about. Next up, we got a three-parter, so I'm just gonna read the whole thing in one go. A new career. Big boy? Yes, STDs? Need anything? Yes, actually. I've been having trouble paying rent. Mr. Vodka has been raising it recently. I see. I suppose I could look for a job. Really? Blush, blush. Yeah, I'll go check the paper for something. Good luck! Wave, wave. Later. There's never anything here. And so... hello? It's Ferd from the application. Creek. Hello, Ferd. I'm Mr. Jazz. Later, again. I'm home. How'd it go? Place. How do you think? Wow. The end. This whole thing was conceived around the same time in 2019 as the previous two comics, and was my first attempt at making a multiple-part story in the comic at all. As stupid as this whole thing is, a part of me really liked the character dynamics and concept, and I wanted to do longer-form content to flesh them out a little bit. In retrospect, I still kind of like them, actually. I had a lot of funny ideas and stuff for the actual, like, world and the comic that they lived in. A real slice of life vibe to it. But because the concept itself is so ridiculous and sticks to mostly weird humor that only my autistic self thinks is funny, it just doesn't really pan out. It's probably, and by probably I mean definitely, hard to take the character seriously at all, even in the slightest. Like here, it's definitely hard for an outsider to find Ferd getting a job at a hat shop entertaining, especially because he as a character hasn't really been explored much outside of just benign jokes. Mr. Jazz is definitely an example of a character that I added too late as well. The original cast that Anna and I created was Ferd, STDs, Vodka, and Tracy, so Mr. Jazz was just added in by me and Jay. Anyway, ramble over, next page. Gun.
Big boy? Big boy?
Yes? Big boy, why was there a gun on top of the fridge? That's so— I wanted to protect you. You scared Sir Snail and Chalissa and I'm sorry. This is another one of the earlier comics created by M in 2018. I remember that they really got a kick out of the names Sir Snail and Chalissa, but I also just like the idea that STDs has 2 pet snails in general. That's just cute, okay? Also, surprised I have not mentioned it quite yet, but STDs and Ferd were initially roommates that later became boyfriends, hence the romantic stuff, just the undertones. Alright, 5-parter coming through. Prepare yourself for the masterpiece that is Troubles with Tracy. Work break.
I brought your lunch.
Oh, thanks, STDs. Nuzzle. I'm looking for a slam. How dare you violate PDA! I demand the manager! I am the manager. How dare you allow this in your establishment? Fire him immediately. Alright. Suspension.
Big boy, I'm so sorry about what happened, kicking you out like that.
And she got a free hat too. Maybe try and find a new job to occupy you until you're off suspension. It may make you feel a little bit better. You're right. And so, and Big Boy tries all these jobs. He plays Minecraft. He works at McDonald's. He is a businessman. Then he's a dominatrix. And then he's a stripper. And then he's a doctor. At home. STDs, I can't find work.
It's okay, big boy.
But we won't be able to pay the rent.
Maybe try and talk to Mr. Vodka, see if he'll lower it.
Okay. Downstairs. Vodka Velociraptor. Excuse me, Mr. Vodka. Hey, it's Big Boy Lucifer. I'm one of your tenants. Okay, what do you want? I've been having trouble paying the rent. Is there any way you could lower it? Well, I suppose you can clean my wine cellar in exchange for a lower rent. Of course. At home. Again. STDs.
Yes, big boy?
We can pay rent.
I love you.
The end. Alright, so as I said with my 3-parter, new career, this whole thing also just strikes me as past me trying to give the characters a little bit more depth, especially since I believe this was drawn shortly after that one. The dialogue is pretty unique from character to character rather than just memey, nonsensical middle school humor, and the characters seem a lot more dimensional, even in just, a base level sense. But again, it's just me writing myself into a corner because no one but me is likely actually to care about these characters. So it's probably just weird for an outsider looking in to go from syphilis to actual character moments and dialogue. Aside from that, Vodka is a character that I actually still like a lot. He's kind of a mood, honestly. Wine cellar. I love working down here. Wipe wipe. I'm only here because he's giving us free rent. Crash. Big boy, what was that? I don't know. We should split up and look around.
Oh, okay.
Deeper in the cellar. Hello? Clink, clack, clink. Who's there? Shiver, shiver. Crash! Huh? STDs. Mr. Jazz, what are you doing? Bye. Zoom, zoom. STDs. Did you find anything?
No.
And the beautiful aftermath of the aforementioned comic made shortly after. I spent way too much time drawing each individual bottle only for wine cellars to not actually look like that in real life. In retrospect, Mr. Jazz is but another wasted character opportunity. Despite being the owner of the hat shop, he's also a con man and a thief. Oh, so subtly foreshadowed when, in A New Career, there's a small sign on the hat shop window that reads, "Nothing illegal here." I think I wanted to make it a reoccurring gag of like Mr. Jazz just showing up to steal shit from the main characters and just be a feral menace to society, but I never really got the chance. Thundering hearts. Crash, boom. Shiver, shiver. Knock, knock. STDs?
Come in, big boy.
STDs, are you alright?
I'm just a little nervous.
Shift, creak. Climb, climb.
Big boy, what?
I love you, big boy. Love? Thundering Hearts I created slightly before Wine Cellar. It's just another example of the comic existing in a sort of limbo between absurdist humor and important character moments. Even reading this now, I'm unsure if I created it to be funny or to be serious. It's like I want it to be an important moment for Ferd, but the characters look like this and are literally named Big Boy, Lucifer, and STD. 18.
Hey, big boy.
Yes, STDs?
Guess what?
What?
You're supposed to guess.
I'm gonna go with pineapples?
No.
I turned 18 today. Oh, happy birthday, STDs. This one was created around the time of the Bob Ross comic and Barbecue. I just like seeing STDs in a Pope hat. That's what I like about this one. What is love?
I love you, big boy.
Click, click. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? This doesn't help me at all. Oh no, I'm such a good singer. Let's hope I don't get copyright claimed. This one is also like C-tier funny, I guess. Competent jokes, but nothing special. Now, this is actually where the comic ends. Well, just where the fully finished pages end anyway. I have 3 more work in progress pages that never got finished after this. A note on that, all 3 of them are done in pencil, so it will be harder to see. 2 of the 3 are actually Ferd's really cool and well-written backstory. Buckle up, diehard Ferd fans. I know you're out there. You are eaten well tonight. The troubled past of a wary foe. Ever since I was a child, I knew I was different. My father thought that I was perhaps mentally challenged. But I was special. I was charming. Semicolon. Why did middle school me use a semicolon? Whatever. I was charming. I made all of the ladies swoon. But I never loved them. I couldn't. They were girls, they were. Not my type. Shriek! Yeet, son. Top 10 anime deaths. My hands, they were covered in her blood. Shake, shiver. I needed to run. 10:45 that night. Pew, train. Hey. And there he was. Semicolon. STDs. My only friend. Are you alright? Could be better. What are you here for? Running from my problems. Me too. He was like me. Semicolon. Jesus Christ. Confused and in need of help. So, I helped him. We moved into an apartment together, and despite what I'd done, he still loved me, all the same. This comic was created all the way back in 2018, and Em and I collaborated on it together. We kind of wanted to make it like a parody of the typical edgy character backstory you'd see. Again, this has like a similar problem to my other longer, more plot and character-focused works, but just put a pin in the discussion of this so I can talk about it more in my closing thoughts. The mask. Customer service. So, why are we in line again?
I have to return this microwave. It doesn't work very well.
You owned a microwave?
Oh no.
What?
There.
Then you can see Tracy at the customer service desk, and I never finished it. And this here was the last comic I ever made all the way back in like March or April of 2020. As you can see, I was never able to finish it. She really did become more of a Karen as time went on, like geez. Gotta love the addition of the Walmart asshole there, by the way. And there, that was it. The comic that I created in middle school. My magnum opus. Well, not really my magnum opus anymore, but you know. Overall, reading through this comic gives me a lot of nostalgia. It reminds me of my middle school years, and of M, who is a friend that I haven't spoken to since they moved across the country. In many ways, I kind of miss it, and I want to take this opportunity to more thoroughly explain my original vision for this comic, as well as the intended plot. The original concept was going to be a slice-of-life comic following Big Boy Lucifer and STDs and the wacky shenanigans that they got into while living together. But it wasn't just that. Remember when I said to put a pin in the backstory? Well, we're gonna get into that more now. Essentially, the whole idea was that Ferd was a bit of a sociopath, or whatever the PC term is, like ASPD, I guess. He grew up in a rich home that was surrounded by all the girls he could ever want, just because he had money. However, he was never into girls, and took out his frustration about the pressure from his father to marry when he killed a girl one night. After that, he fled from the scene to try and go somewhere far away. And on the way, he met STDs on the platform at the Pew train station. Amazing naming system, I know. STDs never got a backstory comic for himself, but his backstory was that he lived in a troubled home and eventually ran away to meet Ferd. After their meeting, they hit it off so much that they decided to move into an apartment together, Ferd using the last of his money to start renting out a place in Vodka Velociraptor's Totally Reliable Apartments. Which is, yes, exactly what the apartment complex was actually called. From this point forward, they were intended to get into like a lot of wacky hijinks with their crazy neighbors, one of which being Tracy. At the same time, there was going to be this whole subplot where STDs and Ferd grow closer and Ferd has to learn what it's like to love and to be loved. It was this whole thing that just never really ended up being coherent. It was like Em and I were too focused on and intrigued by the beta concept humor, and we were never able to break away from the sarcastic absurdity to really make something with likable characters. As I said before, it's really hard to take the comic at all seriously when it looks like this and has a character named STDs who is drawn with his name scrawled on his body at all times, all with an apostrophe for some reason. Well, that was probably like way too much serious reflection on a comic titled The Syphilis Series, but I digress. Anyway, with the totally emotional, dramatic, and professional reading and reflection out of the way, I really hope you all enjoyed this video. This is only part 2 of my old art series, so if you sluts really want me to make another part where I look at my first pieces of digital art, dear gods, along with some of the stuff in my art binder, then leave a comment asking me to do so. Yes, I have an art binder. This is where the Syphilis comic was from. There's other stuff in it, don't worry. As for what videos will be coming next, I'll probably be starting my redesigning old character series, but I may be talking about some of my current and new characters as well. With all of that being said, thank you for making it to the end of this video, even if you just skipped here. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a rating on this video and maybe subscribe if you feel so inclined. Remember to check out my socials, all of which are in the card, which is linked in my description, and have a nice rest of your day. Don't forget to stay magical.